Welcome, everyone, to a new season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Reaction Commentary. This is our first episode into Season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm Alexis, and I'm joined by David, and of course, we're having such a blast here, reacting and reliving Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and this is for the longtime S.H.I.E.L.D. fan that wants to come back on here and continuously talk about every aspect of the show from now until the end of time. We had an amazing time with Season 1, and now we're about to begin a brand new season. It is really kind of exciting to see, because, again, part of reliving the show is to see, how the show ages and how it changes, and kind of reliving that whole experience. So, today we're going to talk about Episode 1 of Season 2. This is called Shadows, written by Jed Whedon and Marissa Chanter-Rowan. Hey, how about that? Our two showrunners here. And it was also directed by Vincent Misiano. Excuse me. We have guest appearances by a whole bunch of people. Here's a long list. Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter. BJ Britt as Trip, although he's become more of a regular. Excuse me. Need to get my act together. Neil McDonough as Dum Dum Dugan. Reed Diamond as Reinhardt and / Whitehall. Henry Simmons making his debut as Alfonso Mack Mackenzie, who of course is the future director of S.H.I.E.L.D., if you can believe that. I don't know if anybody thought that from this first appearance. Patton Oswalt is back as Billy Koenig. Lucy Lawless, who is a big TV star. I remember back in the day when this episode was about to air, people were expecting such big things. What a big get for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to have Lucy Lawless here as Isabel Hartley, and what a joke that was. Adrian Pasdar is back as Glenn Talbot. Wilmer Calderon as Idaho, who is interesting. I would have been curious to see what a season 2 would have looked like if we had more Idaho and Hartley. Kenneth Choi as Jim Morita. Simon Casinades as Sunil Bakshi, who is also going to be a recurring character here from Team Hydra, as well as Brian Patrick Wade as Carl Crusher Creel. It's a long list of characters here who actually do come back many times to make future appearances, including one of the characters that gets killed off here comes back in a future episode. So really interesting to see all of these people have their debut. This might be the longest list of guest appearances I've seen. That doesn't even include, of course, the regular cast, which, of course, we have here Clark Gregg, Ming-Na Wen, Chloe Bennett, Brett Dalton, Ian DeCastiger, Elizabeth Henstridge, and interestingly, of course, how BJ Britt, who has already been on the show in Season 1, is still listed as a guest, and then kind of superseding him, Nick Blood joining the cast as a main regular cast member as Lance Hunter, who also, I forgot, he also is here first. Wow. Just a bit of background here. The series was renewed for a second season in May 2014, and production began that July. In that same month, there was a lot of hype being built for Lucy Lawless's role. And then, of course, we had Haley Atwell, Neil McDonough, and Kenneth Choi reprising their roles from First Avenger, which probably was intentional so they could tie into Agent Carter, which was going to debut, I want to say, early 2015. Yeah. Series composer Bear McCreary used Christopher Lennett's Agent Carter theme when writing the sequence for this music. I believe Christopher Lennett's is the composer for the Agent Carter TV show. So that's a really cool bit of continuity there. Shadows aired on ABC September 23rd, 2014. and it was watched by 5.98 million viewers, considerably less than the first season premiere, which was at 12 million viewers. However, the episode received a positive critical response, with the majority of critics finding many improvements over previous episodes and feeling it to be a promising start to the new season. A bit more here that I was able to find as far as the development is concerned. In July 2014, Clark Gregg stated that the season resumes months later from the end of season 1, adding, "The monumental nature of rebuilding is made very clear almost immediately because you realize everyone, the U.S. government, the U.S. military, and otherwise, wants to arrest us. S.H.I.E.L.D's illegal. We have very few resources. Everything we're going to do involves dealing with, still, finding out who's Hydra and who's amongst our friends. To rebuild S.H.I.E.L.D., we're going to need some old friends to prove themselves, some new friends, and we're going to have to do it in a way that's very back alley, old school." Speaking with the reveal that Fitz was just imagining, spoilers, the presence of Simmons due to the injuries he sustained at the end of the first season, Tancher Rowan said, "We didn't want him to come out of that experience unscathed. He clearly suffered major trauma to his body. The lack of oxygen to his brain has to have consequences because that's how it is in real life. We wanted there to be a price. Basically, he is his own Fitz. He is in his own Fitz way, had professed his love for her, and then he came out of that. How do you come out of that experience without any physical damage? There would still be a change to their relationship because the feelings are out in the open. But of course, being the people that we are, we wanted to make it even more painful and compound it." Costume designer, here's an interesting bit of trivia here. Costume designer Anne Foley dressed Simmons in the same costume she wore in Fids because that was a significant memory for Simmons, of Simmons for Fitz. Mm-hmm. Really cool bit of information there. So keep an eye on how she's dressed in this episode. Yeah. Really cool. And then for the music, composer Bear McCreary changed his synth programming for the series from warm, round tones to a mangled, under heavy distortion sound. He began the episode without any synths, describing his music for the episode's opening scene as among the most shamelessly orchestral I've ever done for this series. I wanted the score to feel like it belonged in the 1940s. He's talking about the opening scene, with a retro adventurous attitude. Then, just as the audience begins to get used to the orchestral sound, the episode cuts to modern day, and then I suddenly bring in the new synths with distorted basses blazing over the nastiest groove I've ever written for the show. The transition is hopefully as jarring as I intended, jumping from soaring orchestra to blasting electronica as we leap forward in time 70 years. With the appearance of Carter, McCreary decided to quote the Agent Carter theme composed by Christopher Leonard for the Agent Carter. Oh, not the show, but the Agent Carter one-shot. And who even knows if they carried that over to the show? I don't even know anymore. Using Leonard's theme, McCreary said, "I was excited for the opportunity to incorporate his music into my S.H.I.E.L.D. score because it further cements the Marvel Cinematic Universe together as a coherent whole." Chris was thrilled and sent me his scores for reference. On his use of the theme, McCreary stated, as Carter storms in, the first violins state an elongated version of her theme, soaring above an aggressive orchestral ostinato. McCreary also introduced a new Hydra theme in the episode that and love that theme, that represents Daniel Whitehall and is used in scenes featuring the Obelisk and Carl Creel. About the theme, McCreary said, in a true bad guy theme fashion, the theme is constructed from distantly related minor chords and contains lots of close intervals. I build a theme like this so it can easily move into increasingly dissonant variations. For example, okay, we're getting into some music terminology. I'm gonna butcher this. I can't read music. E, B, and C minor chord will clash against E minor, and yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm done. I can't. I don't understand. What language am I reading at this point? I think like, okay, I'm not gonna get that. I'm sorry. This is where I'm like, what am I? No, not at all. Yes, and yeah, I think I'm not sure. Wikipedia has some nice recaps, summaries of these reviews, so I don't know if I'm going to spend that much time reading all these long reviews, but we'll get to that part when we get to the end of the episode. This is a new season. This is the first episode of a new season. David, before we get into the comments that we received last time, I do want to know, what do you remember about this episode and then the feeling of watching this new season? Do you remember? And you actually, believe it or not, I think you told me that you don't remember the season all that well?
Yeah, I don't remember that much. I was rewatching this first episode for a bit, because I was trying to get the episode for when I edited it. So I pretty much remember like half of it now. I stopped in the moment where Sky talks to Ward. Spoilers. But yeah, I only go to that point. But after that, I don't remember much. What happens really?
So you could almost say, it's like you're gonna watch this for the first time all over again. That should be a fun experience. I remember just feeling like this was when I look back on it, I think this may be remembered as one of their best season premieres. There's only probably one more episode where I feel has the title for the strongest season opener, and that would be with season 5 when they're blasted into the future. This one though, I think is going to be remembered as one of the better premieres. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the comments that we received last time. David, go ahead.
I'll start off with this person. They're new. Bruno S. 1989. Timestamp 9:49 said the Penguin has someone in the production that worked for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before. Just for this makes the show good.
I love that. I love that justification.
I saw the first episode of the Penguin, and it's really good. So I definitely recommend it, at least for the first episode. But I've been hearing nothing but good things for the other episodes.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard a single bad thing about the Penguin. And again, in another universe, we probably would have covered it for the show, but we just don't have the time.
Yeah. Bruno said Brad Winterbaum told Jamie Jurek of Love and the Time of Hydra Pod that he is rewatching the show.
Cool. That's cool.
I had no idea what this LITTOH meant at first until you sent the video.
Yeah, the acronym is like Lido Pod. They call it the Lido Pod, but it is Love in the Time of Hydra. So yeah. Okay. Which, by the way, is named after an episode of the show. There's an episode in the show called Love in the Time of Hydra, and it's in this season. So
that's cool.
I'll point it out when we get there. Next comment.
Yeah. Next one from Gary Marshall. Said, love the bloopers and deleted scenes, and yes, I wish they kept the Fitzsimmons scenes from Seeds as defines their friendship into simple scenes. We had to wait 5 more seasons until they properly explored it in Inescapable, which, the standout, I mean, there's a lot of standout, but like the standout is Simmons' wig.
Yeah.
The cast and crew became firm friends during the shooting of the show, and so when Lil got married, it was no surprise that Clark, Lane, and Jeff Ward were in attendance.
Do you mean Ian?
I'm pretty sure you meant that.
Yeah, Ian.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. No. This is a family show. From their perspective, they became a family through the process of this show.
Yep.
And I love that. I think it shows in their work.
Couple people put in their top 5 episodes. Gary Marshall said top 5, in no particular order. It was the pilot, Fizzed, Tracks / Tahiti, and Turn, and then the finale.
These are pretty no-brainers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shield Vids said puts Fizzed in the top. Formed my love for Fitzsimmons. Then Turn. War Twist was amazing. Tracks, love the different POVs. Which Finale had Nick Fury and best Fitzsimmons moments. Yeah. And then love the dog Fitzsimmons parallels.
So remember how On Media's video was talking, his reaction to, I believe, On Media, or also maybe Emily B, both made the observation of how Ward was kind of like saw Fitz as a puppy, and then of course he had a puppy that he had to kill.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
Okay. And then Silva Surfa said top episodes Tahiti, Tracks, End of the Beginning, Turn, finale. Turn is really popular.
Well, you know which one that is, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's the big one. I think people have a lot of love and admiration for that show, that episode, I should say, because I think in the eyes of a lot of people, Turn is kind of like the real pilot for like what the show was going to be. And for many people, it was the turning point. I'm happy to also see a lot of love for Tracks. I'm glad I'm not alone in that one.
Yeah. And Siva also put his bottom episodes, which is Seeds, The Asset, and The Hub. Which, I think we said that Seeds is...
Yeah.
And then... Oh, hold on. Okay. Silva also put in his ranking of the seasons.
Now, is it... I'm not sure, Silva, the pronouns, so I don't know if it's his, her, they, them, just to be clear about that, but I don't want to be wrong about that. What did they put in? They put in their, what?
Yeah. Series ranking is difficult, I must admit, but here's my current take. Season 4, Robbie Reyes is my favorite character of the series, and this season was nearly perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Season 1, now my second favorite season because of the amazing run of episodes from 13 to 22. Trip is also one of my favorite characters, so he makes it extra good for me. Season 2, Cal's arc is so damn well written. He truly makes this season so special, and episode 19 is one of my top episodes of the series. Cool. Season 5 was my second favorite for a long time, but seasons 1 and 2 crept past recently. It's good and dark, but Daisy and Mac get more annoying to me with each rewatch. Season 7, Enoch is my favorite character this season, and episode 9 is just fantastic. Season 6, ironically, this season had my favorite version of Daisy and May, but there is an episode 10, that was the worst writing of the series in my opinion. We'll adjust that later. Curious. And then bottom is season 3, the weakest for me, and I skipped several episodes because of Lincoln and Hunter, who are the worst main characters of the show. I can't understand the appeal of them at all.
Well, I will do the best we can to explain, because I feel Lance Hunter is an incredible character. I think he is so charming and charismatic, and I feel, especially with this episode, you're going to see how they set him up to be kind of this renegade Han Solo type of like person who's a mercenary and mostly just out for himself, but also has a lot of good in him. And Coulson definitely saw somebody that he might be able to trust one day, but especially who he felt that he would need. And Adam, maybe I shouldn't give it away because we're going to watch the episode. I'm not sure how much you recall. And you'll see it right now how they set it up, that why he's that way. Any more comments?
Nope, that's all of them.
Well, without any further ado, I believe it's time to get into this, shall we?
I swore an oath. We all did. To protect the world against the much weirder world.
Take a moment, David, and scan the look. This is the last glimpse we're seeing of season 1. I want to see if you, I want you to see if you can notice any differences in choices and style from the season we just watched into season 2. I think it's very deliberate how a lot of season 1 was bright, and right now we're going to begin, and it's not very bright. In fact, a lot of it is not very bright. It's about going dark. Go dark.
No, we don't have much, but what we have is yours, Director Coulson.
Even the background behind me. Look how bright the first one was. This is the season 2 promo shot. And look. But of course, when we get to the modern day, maybe not compared to this one.
Yeah.
But I've always loved this scene. Just like, we're back in the first Avenger timeline. And it's Hydra. Like, this was such an unexpected season opener. I'm like, what?
Oh, no reason left to fear Red Skull. He's dead.
Actually.
I don't understand. I thought the stockpile held only artifacts.
Not everything we dug out of the ground was an antique, my friend.
He also was referring to the Blue Angels. Like, they have amongst their possessions Kree, which I think we believe to be the same Kree that ended up being in the bunker that created the GH325 drug. You'll see a glimpse of him right now.
Tie a blasting cap to your...
It's so crazy to see these guys
Yeah, for
here
sure.
of all places, right? And then Haley Atwell.
Sit down.
Anytime she's like on screen,
Down.
it's always just so fun. She's so great.
Every time she's doing this character, she's doing it. She's like committing to it.
Get him out of here.
All right, boys, let's pack it up.
Also, that guy, I can't remember his name, but the
Dum
actor,
Dugan.
I just love that
Oh.
like they put so much padding on him because he's really not that big. I don't think. Like in
Watch
real
this.
The hell is all
Yeah,
this
yeah.
stuff?
Dangerous.
Right there.
Right now, we need to contain everything and get it out of it.
And notice how tattooed to him was the markings of the writing.
Until then, all we can do is box it up, lock it up, and dedicate ourselves to making sure it never sees the light of day.
And thus the idea of S.H.I.E.L.D. was created, who of course Peggy Carter was the founder of S.H.I.E.L.D. And now we cut to the present day, and again, look how different, I mean, first of all, the visuals, and then what the hell? What is Skye doing? Is she in the field all of a sudden? It just like throws you into the hacker girl is now in the field? Just throws you off scent. Like, immediately how much has changed.
No, yeah, and especially because of the fact though too, she's the backup in this. She would not have been the backup in the first season at all.
No.
You're the one who changed the terms, bringing more than the 2 guards we agreed upon.
I only brought 2 guards.
It's like, what the fuck?
Like, what do you mean?
And then right now off the bat, somebody's neck got snapped.
Yeah.
Crusher Creel, everybody.
Yeah. Cool name, by the way. I
Right?
love that name.
Yeah.
Third party, possibly Hydra, and we're out in the open. What are our orders?
Go dark.
The fact that it was also raining probably confirms that the base is somewhere in Virginia, which, I mean, to be right outside Washington, D.C., yeah, that makes sense. Also, wasn't that a cool visual of him just looking out the window while it was raining?
Yeah.
All right, Mac. No new toys. You get anything? A new enemy?
So I just realized where we began that video clip. So the lab, Fitzsimmons' lab, has been converted into Mac's garage. They're just off the bat right there.
An 084 could be anything. That much we've learned.
It's not just an 084. It's the first. If Hydra gets their hands on this, they may not have to.
Also like that. The 084, the 084 stamp that was put on the box, like right away you could tell, like, oh shoot, is this like?
He expected a positive result and sent a gift along as a reward for this assignment and the next.
I don't know at one point when they established this. I don't think they say it here, but because the whole vibe that Crusher Creel gives off is kind of whatever about it, but technically he was brainwashed. He did have the Hydra brainwashing because they established later when he basically gets adopted by Talbot. Not adopted, I'm not for reals. I mean, just like he gets recruited by Talbot to become like his bodyguard later on in the series.
Fitz, now would be the time I'd have you test the resonant frequencies of the metal.
This is so sad. This is hard to watch for the first time, but it has become much harder to watch when you realize what's really going on.
I can't hear you. I'm trying to hear the bloody resonant frequency you keep going on about, but all I
Did
can
you
hear
expect
is you.
it at all? Or like were you
Well,
just...
first, right now, the way that this was filmed, it was like, why is it taking him so long to respond? And he had that blank expression on his face. And I'm like, oh no, what was happening
Let's
here?
say that actually, and no, I haven't because.
And then this kind of like gives you a false sense of security. Oh, he's not that bad. He
Mhm.
just is missing a couple of beats.
Yeah.
Yes.
When they reveal what they reveal, not at all expecting it. It didn't even occur to me. It was just like, no, because it works really well. That being said, when you go back and look at it, you can tell there is something very off about all of this. But maybe I did notice it, but I didn't want to dwell on it because you're focusing on Fitz. You're not focusing on as much on Simmons. But when you go back and see it, like right now, you're about to see every interaction that Fitz has with, they never acknowledge Simmons' existence because she's not actually there.
Yeah.
And I for whatever reason, I didn't pick up on that when I first watched it. But when you go back, and by the way, this again, they that's kind of their thing. So just to pick up on that a lot, and they use it a lot this season, especially because then you'll see that when she's not there, you'll see she's not really there. But no, I didn't. Did you see it? Did you pick up on it?
No, actually, no. I'm just having a bit of trouble identifying the. I'm having a bit of trouble identifying the material.
So notice how May never looks at Simmons.
Yeah, doesn't look at Simmons, but then also there's moments of Fitz like wanting to look at her, but I feel like he's kind of hesitant, going like, "Wait, I can't do that. They don't see her."
What? That's weird.
Can you figure out whose blood?
That shouldn't be too hard.
That shouldn't be too hard.
See, right there, that should have been like a dead giveaway for us. Being like, wait, what? That's kind of like a weird response.
Right. But then they cut away to this, and then like you forget about it.
Yeah.
These encounters come with better financial compensation.
Hunter,
What?
don't be yourself right now.
You like me like this.
I love the use of shadows, in the lighting here.
Personal reasons for being dedicated to the cause.
If this was season 1, the whole room would be like, it would be just bright and no shadows. I look at the shadows on their faces, like, and on Coulson too.
John Garrett, isn't that your mate who, went to the dark side?
Oh, yeah. Then he went nuts.
I love this shot.
No, yeah, it's a cool
like,
shot. But that one part of them mentioning Garrett, I feel like the dialogue could have been better.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I just didn't like the, oh yeah, and then he went crazy. It's like, it's a little bit too, I get it that it's been some time, so you kind of have to remind people and all that, but I don't know.
No, I feel you.
You want me to go down there, don't you?
You're the only one who can.
Is this really what it takes for you and I to get a one-on-one?
Look at the lighting on Sky's face. There's really good lighting done in this episode. This is why I think this is such a big jump from season 1 to 2. It's just the whole look of it.
Just tell me there isn't an off button I can accidentally hit.
You'll be safe. I promise.
When you think about it, it really is messed up. She's being put in this position.
I know. It sucks, but like, I mean,
you understand it.
And...
You understand it because she is a secret agent, and like this is something that.
Yeah. So this is the part where I kind of stopped, but one thing I noticed right here, just the look on his face to her, like, is insane. I don't know how to explain it. Like, he's just crazy.
To give
right
you
here.
intelligence. Why now?
He hadn't seen her in months. Also, I should have mentioned Sky's new hairstyle. I love how every season she changes up the do. Has a new hairstyle, and I love it.
First pair of pants they gave me had a button on the back. They took that away, but you fold a piece of paper just right. It gets sharp.
He was very much trying to go for the Silence of the Lambs type.
Sure, yeah. Yeah. Do you notice it? You see it? Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, let's go.
Are these straps really necessary?
You tell me.
I guess.
Even this room is like,
Yeah.
remember how bright it was? And now.
We can work together. Be buddies like we used to.
No, yeah, the lighting. I mean, just the biggest difference. They're adding more contrast to it. Before it
Yeah.
was basically like,
Kind of flat, right?
flat, kind of like comedies where everything's
Yeah.
all lit up. You see everything, especially with the characters. Like you just want to see everything when it comes to this one. Yeah, like I said, it's just more contrast between the foreground and background, mainly to the characters in the background and all that.
Kidnapping me and tying me up in your honeycomb kill room is not helping your case. Do you think I'm an idiot?
Oh, no. You're the real deal.
There it is, the real deal, which again comes back into play when he becomes Graviton and Daisy has to kind of give her version of the real deal speech to him to try and calm him down. But then, of course, the Gravitonium takes over and he's like all fucking crazy at that point. But again, because how she uses what she includes in her speech to get him to calm down is to remind him of the fact that he is the real deal, that he already is a hero for anybody who chooses this way of life to sacrifice for the greater good. So look how that comes back around.
Running analysis. Well, it looks like we've got a new golden boy.
Again, right here, we should have known. Look how like she's out of focus she is when from a distance.
And I've been sidelined.
No. Well, I mean, maybe, but in the way that a player is sidelined due to injury in a football match.
Football or American football.
And I love how that's a running thing that Fitz is a big fan of football.
Mm-hmm.
Soccer, but football, yeah. Not American football.
Also, right here, this dialogue where he says, like, I've been sidelined. It's like, why would he specifically be sidelined? Why not both of them? Or, like, you know, like, why is he putting it?
Yeah, what about Simmons? Like, how? Yeah, exactly.
Now they've got this absorbing man in a locked box, too.
I love how she says, absorb. That's the character's name in the comics, Absorbing Man, so.
Yeah, but is that danger worse than the risk of sending every field operative you have available into a secure military compound?
They're guarded by the same people that's been hunting us.
Notice here how quietly Mac was in the background, kind of supporting Hartley, because they're both in on the same thing. Remember what they're a part of that we don't even know of yet.
No, it's all or nothing, huh?
And notice how like here Hartley was like casting dispersions on like, why are we going into this mission? Like kind of questioning Coulson's judgment again to kind of get the others to think the same way too, because they're already here to undermine him. Idiots.
Come upstairs.
How do you lock somebody away and don't even like, I don't know, bother to like follow up with what they can or can't do? Especially when the general was like disappeared. Like
This is General Talbot. Why has General Jones and his government escort been delayed at the gate, soldier?
I love the spy stuff when it comes into play. It's just so nice.
I don't care about
this register or that. I want General Jones and his friends sent directly to the Ordnance Depot to meet me.
The
Or
coach.
I'll have you so deep in horse manure, son, you'll need a damn snorkel.
His face going, nope. Just...
Oh, never mind. Sir.
Nice work, soldier.
Next time you see me, come shake my hand. Talbot out.
Talbot out!
I do like how sort of like janky, I guess you can say, their gadgets are. You know, not compared to like the ending of the first season or anything like that.
Right.
But still, I feel like you would have like a whole nicer set of equipment had
Oh
they
yeah,
had the
yeah.
resources.
Again, it adds to this whole idea that they're running this spy organization out of their garage, you know, and they're using what they can get. I mean, this whole mission is not just about like finding this like MacGuffin, but it's also about something else. Do you recall what the other thing is?
The other thing?
Remember they said, oh, it's all or nothing now. There's something else that they're here for that they're not telling us yet.
Was it a plane?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they needed they need a Quinjet,
Mhm.
and a Quinjet that can
Cloak.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that, but I thought that was like later on this season. Wow.
No, it's like right now. It's right now. You'll see.
I've got the 084.
Also, what's about to happen is actually kind of horrifying for S.H.I.E.L.D. And also, off the bat in the first episode. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's like, I ain't touching that.
Okay, Hartley, just relax your hand. Thank you.
She can't move that fucking
Do you
hand.
not see how it looks? Come on.
Like, it's fucking stone at that point. Like, you can't.
Hartley has the item, but it's attacking her. She needs medical right now. Do we abort?
Alarms have sounded. Chances of them being captured or killed here just skyrocketed.
Should we just cut our losses? Coulson!
I like how we have to really see him make a really big decision here. And see how Coulson is as a leader.
Negative. Do not abort. Proceed as planned.
And he has to make a really, probably this is the most cutthroat choice he's made the whole series. He's basically sacrificing one of their members here.
Cut it off.
Walden,
Even
no,
this,
to a
like,
hospital, they'll fix this.
This thing is killing me.
How can it be fixed? It's stone.
It's no big deal. You see what they can do with robotics these days.
Which, by the way, also kind of foreshadows the fact that it's interesting because Coulson basically decides to like sacrifice Hartley here. He doesn't know exactly what's going to happen, but that's the same hand that he's going to lose for the exact same reason at the end of the season. The exact same part and notice how the stone came up to here because that's all of this is going to lose. I love this music here. It's so kind of sad, melancholy, also kind of hopeful.
Fitz said he could engineer cloaking, but I'm afraid he can't do anything. The damage to his temporal lobe was too extensive. He's not the same, and since Simmons left, he's only getting worse.
What do you mean? She's right there. What do you mean?
Touch anything, you get... Yes, I know. And I have told him to be patient, like you said. But I'm still having trouble communicating the yes.
This is so fucked up.
Well, I mean, it's nice for Coulson to still keep him around, but...
Well, because he's family.
Yeah.
He's family. It's not just somebody he keeps on the payroll. He legitimately, I'm sure he thinks of him as a son. Like, that he wants him to be better, and he knows he can be better. Bum, bum. That's the Hydra theme. I love it.
I love that little detail. It was so smart. Like, oh, grabbing it. That's awesome.
I would have just, like, grabbed the rock hand.
Yeah.
At that point, you know?
Although, it could have still spread. I don't know.
I guess it could. Yeah, that's true, huh?
You've been searching for this, Dr. Whitehall.
You have no idea.
It's so unsettling. Like, this is the guy we saw in 1945 at the beginning of the episode, and he looks exactly the same, like 70 damn years later.
And the accent. Gone.
Yes, and the accent, too. Oh my god, I need to just double check something. Did this episode air at the same time as episode 2? I want to say it did. Let me look. So, this was aired September 23rd. The next episode... Oh, it wasn't. Okay, I was wrong. Okay, hey, anyway... Hell of a season opener. I mean, a strong season opener. Let's get to some reactions. Eric Goldman of IGN scored the episode an 8.3 out of 10, praising the visual style, which he called less glossy than the previous episodes. We've been talking about that right now. The visual style, what an upgrade in every way imaginable, right? Like, you even said it yourself, and you're kind of a photographer yourself. Beautiful images all throughout the episode, and it makes it, I think, to me, it makes it look a lot more cinematic than TV.
For sure.
Eric Goldman also introducing the introduction of new characters and the development of old ones, especially, of course, the introduction of Carl Creel. It was nicely done FX, showing off his power, the VFX. He did note that the episode did little to actually give. Oh, you know what? I was wrong. It was the next episode that actually establishes Hunter's whole thing with Coulson, and you'll see why. Actually give Hunter or Mac distinguishing personalities, and stated, I don't really buy that Fitz would even be there, working alongside the team at this point. Doesn't he have friends or family he could be with? It's brutal. Not really. The only these are his friends. These are his family. What good would it do to send him away? Mark Buston, who is somebody we have not read yet, he writes for Den of Geek, scored the episode 4.5 stars out of 5, feeling that the series had finally reached its potential by incorporating Marvel elements such as Creel and Whitehall, while also creating a darker tone and developing the original characters. He specifically highlighted the changes made to Fitz's character, saying, this layer of tragedy greatly deepens Fitz's character and gives the comic relief of the last season a heartbreaking edge. James Hunt, also for Den of Geek, gave a positive review as well, stating, the momentum of last season's finale hasn't been lost, and indeed, it's been added to. Last year, I criticized the pilot episode for, above all else, failing to recreate the feel of the MCU. This year, it's only fair that I praise the season opener for doing exactly that. He did feel, however, that the opening sequence featuring Carter was, by some distance, the most exciting part of the episode. Okay, that sounds a lot like people saying that the best part of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4 with Ghost Rider was only the Ghost Rider scenes and not really caring much about anything else, but okay. Kevin Fitzpatrick at Screen Crush called the premiere unexpectedly good, noting that the series remains as serialized a show as it can over 22 episodes, introducing interesting ideas for the rest of the season while also setting a high standard for subsequent episodes to meet. He concluded that the series definitely seems to have hit a major groove. Alan Spinwall of HitFix called the premiere a promising and lively start to the season despite a lot of exposition, helped by some good casting and some smart creative choices. He was positive about both the changes to the existing characters and the introduction of the new ones, especially Creel. Oliver Sava, a good old Oliver Sava of the AV Club, who we've been talking about all last season, graded the episode a B-, feeling that with a clearly defined villain and mission statement, this show's second season is already off to a better start than the first year, but there's still plenty of room for the series to grow. The scripts could use more energy, the action could be better choreographed, and it could use a huge injection of style or both the visual and audio elements. There's so much potential for S.H.I.E.L.D., but the show's creators aren't fully exploring it yet. Okay. Multiple critics positively compared the character of Grant Ward and his new position as a traitor and prisoner to the character you called it, of Hannibal Lecter, though it was acknowledged that the situation would likely change in upcoming episodes. Yeah. So, those were the written reviews. Let's go ahead and see what Amwan thought. We're going to go over to his video.
How the hell is he still alive? That was so much. One, there's just a whole new status quo to get used to with the change up of locations. I mean, obviously we kind of had that before, but like we're trying to rebuild. We're trying to get back into the swing of things, getting S.H.I.E.L.D. up and running again, despite obviously the public perception. Hydra's out in the wind as well, with the U.S. government also hunting them. It's really interesting to see like them trying to rebuild and the fallout of all of that. Simmons, that reveal, I mean, already the Fitz thing was breaking my heart because that was his whole place in the team, the tech guy, you know, helping with the analytics, helping with the investigations, even being involved in the boots on the ground stuff here and there, you know, building up those skills, getting comfortable and all that. He sacrificed. Honestly, he was going to sacrifice it all. He was willing to die. That was his plan, was to die. But she, you know, thought long and hard enough, and they got out of that situation together, and she did not give up on him. It cost him not everything, but a huge part of who he was. It's such a painful thing to see. Like, just by itself, as it were, if it was just simply the brain damage, you know, he was forgetful. You know, he couldn't remember things as much or as easily. You know, it took him longer to figure out puzzles, to figure out, you know, the things that he's supposed to be working on. On top of that, that supportive figure, that person that was always by his side, isn't there for him to manifest that in his mind, to that dependency, that symbiotic relationship that they had, that connection, that, especially considering that that was his confession of his feelings for her. And part of me wonders how much is that is it truly for him to get better versus for her to not have to see it? Like, I don't know. Like, we haven't seen, I don't want to put that on her.
Well,
you know, I don't want to like assume the worst in the situation, but it does just feel icky that she's not by his side and that he has to resort to this mental construct believing that she is. It's just so heartbreaking. And then obviously seeing the team in some ways obviously kind of, you know, bond even more. You know, your Sky has grown in her connection with May, seeing them run these ops together on the ground floor with everybody else, you know, seeing that responsibility grow, that trust grow there. But in other ways, we're seeing people drift. We're seeing people kind of distance themselves because of just how hard of an operation that they've got themselves in, trying to resurrect S.H.I.E.L.D. from its ashes. Coulson's got to run everything, which means he's also got to recruit. He's got to micromanage. He's got to do all these things. He doesn't have time for these one-on-ones. And you can see that Sky really misses that connection, that intimacy that their team really had. That was one of the strong suits of their team. But like now, they've all got to take on bigger roles. They've got to all take on different responsibilities, bigger responsibilities. They want S.H.I.E.L.D. to be even a echo of what it once was. It's going to take all of them doing and pulling so much weight to make that happen. And it just again, it's another one of those things that's just unfortunately heartbreaking. But he's also got Sky looking into whatever these glyphs are. He says that it's the stuff from Garrett, but I wonder if the question is he even aware of the stuff that he was working on in the nights, when he woke up at night and started scribbling on the walls? Is he even aware that he did that? If he is, I'm wondering if he combined that with Garrett's so that she could study them in tandem, or if that's something he's working on in his subconscious on his own. So this is the first item that they're after, this obelisk, this, you know, that this Hydra base had captured and had under their, you know, lock and key for a while with a Kree body, maybe even the Kree body that was used for Coulson. So I wonder if that in turn is Kree tech. Then we have this gifted person running around that was released. I can't remember if they were one of the ones that were freed from the fridge. No. He had been in the wind, but reported dead by Garrett, but held on the back burner as an agent within Hydra. I think that was the explanation that they gave. His power and the way they depicted it was really cool. Also, the special effects on making that work with his skin, with him camouflaging into the environment, was really good looking. I like the way they did it. It was really well executed. And I've talked about this before. I think, you know, barring a couple of moments here and there, for the most part, the show really knows how to focus in its budget and make a lot of the things that need to look good look real good. And this is one of those moments. And I don't know if there was like an increase in the budget from season 1 from the success of that going into season 2.
Other way around. It was the other way. Can you believe that they got a budget cut? And then it looks a lot better than it ever did. Go figure.
And materials turn his skin into these things. And the idea that each one of those things, just like when we feel it, it feels differently. It has a different texture, a different feel. To have that be your outer layer of skin, what does that feel like? Each material comes with its own sense of feelings, and this guy just loves changing his body and feeling those textures. So like he was being paid with like precious gemstones and stuff like that. It was like, here, this is a rare diamond or whatever it was from Madagascar. I hope it feels good. And I was like, huh? That's why, is because he experiences those. It's like this weird kind of high, I guess, this feel, kind of like this texturized sensation. And obviously that comes with its own benefits because your skin also retains those properties. So when he was getting shot with those bullets, his body instinctually absorbed the lead. While that still chipped off of him, it kept it from taking even more damage. So like those chunks of lead that they found were just chunks of his body that got shot when the bullets hit him, that fell off of him, which is disgusting when it just turned back into flesh. But this is kind of wild how that came into play. And then with translucent stuff, and he blended in with that glass pane, so they thought he wasn't in there, and then he could blend in with the walls, and then stop a moving vehicle. It was really well done. I was seeing Lucy Lawless pop into this, and I don't know the actor's name that was selling the stuff. He was very obviously short-lived in this. Both of them coming from X-Files was also a little fun little thing for me, just like sightseeing. I'll call him out when I see him. He was in a two-part episode in X-Files, like she was. She was also in a two-parter, I believe. I think it was two. It was either 2 or 3 episodes she was in. I think the start of season 9 was when she showed up, the first 2 episodes of season 9. I liked seeing them pop up, and I was like, oh, when I saw this Lucy Lawless, I was like, honestly, I would be shocked if she was in the entire run. I was kind of expecting her, especially with them not being a full team of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and him talking about is like, hey, if she trusts them, it's just like, we're going to be setting her out to pasture by the end of this, right? She's not making it out of this episode. That's what my expectation was in my head. I didn't know about the rest of the team, though. Obviously, we had a single survivor. She died. One of the other guys died. We only had one person survive that car crash that was part of that initial team, and I want to believe that was the guy that was like, very much so not about risking his own skin. And now maybe this will be personal. Maybe it'll be kind of putting, a little more investment in backing the team if they do bring him back into the fold. Because, her team, she was the only S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. She had made these connections with the rest of her unit due to her, her undercover gig. She had built that trust with them while undercover on a mission, and knew that they were worth bringing into the fold in this. Now, they weren't for the cause, but they had a role to play. So now I'm wondering if this will put him into the cause, and that'll be part of his journey, adapting to becoming a little bit of more of a S.H.I.E.L.D. team player. It's just interesting, too, that they still have Ward in here, and they have him as this kind of Hannibal Lecter character, set up almost exactly the same. Skye being our Clarice, and they have this affection for one another in this weird, sycophantic kind of way. Him giving them information, trying to help Skye, I guess. That's what he says. I don't buy it, but we'll see. And then all the different scars and all that stuff. In my head, it feels like it's all performative. Like it would be a method of sympathy. Because he knows they're not going to let him die. He's got too much information that they could use. They're not going to do any of that. But that's a story he can tell to try to garner sympathy from the only person he gives a shit about. And that's Skye. It's like, hey, if you want information from me, I'll only talk to Skye. Only talk to Skye. Only talk to Skye. And he's trying these different ways to get into her head. Skye's not hearing any of it. She's not having any of his bullshit. And the second he tried to start to get personal again, at the moment she got what she needed to, she put up that wall and pieced out. Just before, though, he was like, hey, I was about to tell you about your father. So he's got some information and intel that he's keeping to himself. And I'm wondering if this Talbot thing is going to smoothen out, if he'll come around in the end. I hope so. Or who knows? Maybe his curmudgeon-y ways will just get him off in the end. But great episode, man. Great start to get us back into the swing of things. And really, man, such a kick to the groin with the Fitz stuff.
Interesting how he was like saying, maybe Talbot will come around in the end. He will come around, but then also what he said as well, which maybe his curmudgeon-y ways will also get him off in the end. Well, technically that kind of happened because although it's kind of hard to blame Talbot, right, for what happened to him.
It's kind of crazy, like looking back at it, because I'm fairly certain when I first saw this, I'm just like, oh, fucking Talbot, it's like not believing in them. It's like, just trusting. Come on.
He was kind of annoying. Yeah, it's like really
on rewatch, he's just kind of like, fuck him, like being so like strong-headed. What's the word? Like, I can't remember the other word, but like strong-headed, basically, really helped him out in the long run of the show and everything, but also helped him out when he was like captured and locked up for I don't know how
Months.
many months. Yeah. But it is also his sort of downfall too when he becomes Graviton. Which like it's just a crazy thing, like seeing him now, or at least like rewatching it now.
No, for sure,
And
for
then
sure.
I like this bit though of the wards, like the scars and everything are just probably fake just to gain some kind of sympathy and everything. I did not think of that at all, but like I don't remember what happens, but yeah, he could be right. Like it could have just all been fake to try to gain sympathy.
Yeah.
Like he was very, very manipulative in the first season with the whole that whole act of I don't work well with others and all that. Which that's really cool.
Right. Look, they're kind of like with season 1. It's a great start, but then I feel like we're left in such a state of unresolvedness. So the next episode, Heavy as the Head, I think it's gonna be like a proper way. Like I feel like most of Shield's first episodes don't necessarily feel complete. They're complete individual episodes, but I think they feel more complete when you watch the second episode, because then you get like a real feel for the season. So season 1, you had the pilot in 084. This season we have Shadows and Heavy Heavy as the Head. I think season 3 for the most part is kind of self-contained and does a pretty good job. The same with season 4. Season 5, however, you have Orientation Part 1 and Orientation Part 2. And then season 7, the first 2 episodes are in the 1930s, which kind of establish where we're at and where we're going. So most of S.H.I.E.L.'s seasons kind of rely on that, which I think is perfectly fine.
No, yeah. First episodes on the show, it's just setup of like what it's going to be, who might be the villain, like what's going to happen in this season, what's going on with the characters, especially because like on television shows, especially like long running ones, months pass by from the first season and all that, so you kind of have to like establish what's been happening within those months.
And what's also interesting here, it's like I feel like almost a year maybe has gone by since. I know they say months, but then at one point Coulson says to Tobit that we had to like hide out the whole winter, but it was not winter when season 1 was happening. So it's really interesting. But it's like I think it's a lot of months, almost to a year after season 1, if we're at this point. But yeah. I think we're gonna go ahead and end it off there. What were some of your favorite moments of this episode? Please write that down below. And also, what are some memories that you can recall about what you thought this this season was going to bring? All I can say that for me is I was on such a high watching this episode because I'm like, oh my god, they took a show that I already really loved and they somehow made it better. And I'm like, wow, like the jump in quality. And again, season 1 is great. I love it. But as we've been saying, it's like, wow. And then to me, season 2 is one of my favorite seasons. And well, I just getting the idea, like sometimes I get more excited to relive season 2 than season 1. I mean, I've seen season 1 probably the most times because it's the oldest of all the 7 seasons. But season 2, I think, is even better. But that's just me. We're going to go ahead and end it off here. Thank you all for watching and listening, and we will come back and catch us next time for episode 2 of season 2. Bye-bye.
Bye.